Have you ever tossed out a plastic bottle without thinking twice? You might want to hold on to the next one, because what you're about to see could turn that everyday trash into the most charming part of your backyard. In this video, we'll show you 16 genius DIY bottle ideas, from glowing bee lanterns to playful garden borders, that are so magical you'll wish you tried them sooner. Welcome to Backyard Fortune, where we believe even the smallest waste can bloom into beauty. The video includes timestamps, so feel free to skip to your favorite idea. And don't forget, if you have questions, just leave a comment below. One, cheerful bottle characters border. There's something quietly magical about walking into a garden where laughter seems to bloom from the soil and smiles peek from behind petals. In a world that moves fast and throws too much away, here lies a patch of peace, a place where bottles, once forgotten, are reborn with joy. These aren't just decorations. They are characters with stories, made from things we're so quick to discard. Each one has googly eyes that sparkle in the sun, hats crafted from real leaves or painted caps, and arms made of twigs reaching out in playful welcome. Arranged along winding paths, they become a cheerful border, guiding visitors through a garden that feels less like earth and more like a whispered memory from childhood. You can feel it in the colors: vibrant pinks, mellow yellows, and soft greens, each bottle painted by hand, imperfect and alive. A butterfly flutters near one, mistaking it for a flower. A robin lands gently on another's head, as if to say, "Yes, I see the beauty too." Creating these bottle guardians is simpler than you might think. Start with a clean plastic bottle, any size will do. Paint it with the brightest colors you can find, the ones that make you smile. Add a pair of playful eyes, a wide grin, and don't forget a whimsical hat, perhaps a fallen leaf or a handmade crown from paper. Twigs for arms, beads or buttons for flair, and suddenly it's not trash anymore. It's part of your garden's soul. Arrange them in a parade along a garden edge or tuck them between flower beds. Let them greet guests, invite children to giggle, or simply stand quietly, reminding you that joy can grow from the most unlikely places. In one corner of the scene, smaller bottles sit low among moss and wildflowers, their leaf hats curling softly in the breeze. Their smiles are wide, and their eyes gleam with light, not from electricity, but from intention. Someone took the time to make them. And in that gesture, something was healed. The earth, maybe, or the human heart. This project is more than a DIY. It's an act of care. A statement. A story. You're not just creating garden art, you're reclaiming beauty from waste, and in the process, planting a little more wonder in the world. If this inspired you, take a moment to pause, breathe, and look at what's around you. What can you save from the bin? What can you give a second chance? Maybe the next cheerful guardian in your garden is already waiting inside a forgotten bottle. Two, whimsical animal bottle fence decor. Imagine a garden fence that doesn't just hold space but holds stories, of frogs with silly smiles, butterflies that refuse to fade, and birds that look as though they might chirp at any second. These characters weren't bought. They weren't factory-made or wrapped in plastic. They were crafted, by hand, by heart, from bottles once destined for the bin. With a little paint, a lot of laughter, and the simplest materials, something ordinary became utterly enchanting. Perched along a wooden or iron fence, they greet the garden like a crowd at a festival. A parrot made from vibrant reds and blues stretches its wings as if ready to take flight. Next to it, frogs with bottle bellies and cheerful red tongues dangle their paper feet in the breeze. The butterflies, with delicate, hand-drawn wings, appear mid-dance, caught in that perfect moment between stillness and flutter. Look closer and you'll see more than color. You'll see texture, recycled foam cut into wings, googly eyes that seem to follow the sun, and bottle caps repurposed into beaks and antennae. Even tiny mirrors shimmer among the creatures, reflecting not just light but life, adding a touch of magic to every glance. This kind of DIY isn't about perfection. It's about presence. The joy of collecting empty bottles, rinsing them clean, and seeing not trash but potential. Children can paint the frogs. Parents can cut the wings. Friends can laugh over mismatched eyes and lopsided smiles. And when it's done, you step back and realize you've made a garden parade that feels alive. Want to try this at home? Start simple. Choose animals you love. A bird, a butterfly, maybe even a dragonfly. Use whatever you have: paint, paper, leftover buttons, bottle caps, leaves. Let your imagination lead and don't worry about the rules. The garden won't mind if your bird has purple feathers or your frog wears a crown. Because in this space, creativity trumps conformity. Here, reuse becomes celebration. And when someone walks past your fence and pauses, just to smile, you'll know you've created something truly special. So the next time you hold an empty bottle, ask yourself, is this just waste, or is there a fox waiting to leap? A bee ready to buzz? A whole zoo hoping for a second chance? You might be surprised at what your hands and your heart can make. Three, floating bottle creatures lantern parade. As sunlight pours gently through the garden pergola, something magical stirs above. They hover in the air, pastel-colored creatures with smiling faces, fluttering ears, and softly swaying wings. They are lanterns, yes, but they are also little bits of joy, floating on strings, made not from fantasy but from forgotten plastic bottles given a second life. Each one tells its own story. Some have the look of dragonflies with translucent wings and shimmering antennae. Others wear bunny ears or pigtails of twine, their eyes wide with wonder as if caught mid-laugh. Hung with care and lit from within, they glow with a warmth that feels less like a bulb and more like a memory. You don't need to be a skilled crafter to make one. A clean bottle, a splash of paint, and a touch of imagination, that's all it takes. Add wings cut from vellum or leftover packaging, draw on a face with kindness in the lines, and suspend your creation from a beam or branch. It's not just a lantern, it's a character, a friend, a floating poem in plastic and light. By day, they dance above the flowerbeds, swaying over daisies and marigolds like visitors from a fairy tale world. At dusk, they begin to glow. Their soft illumination spills across picnic tables and paths, casting gentle shadows and beckoning twilight creatures to come closer. It's hard not to feel calm beneath them. Something about their gentle presence slows your breath, quiets the noise, reminds you that light doesn't always need to shout. Sometimes it hums, gently, like a lullaby strung between branches. Try making one for your own garden. Or better yet, make many. Let them hang in clusters, creating a sky of soft smiles and fluttering shapes above your gatherings or quiet corners. Use them for evening dinners, garden parties, or simply as a reminder that beauty often begins in what we choose not to throw away. And when a child looks up and says, "That one looks like it could fly," smile and nod. Because in some way, it already has. Four, recycled bottle ocean garden. In a world where plastic is often seen as a burden, some gardens quietly rewrite that story, where forgotten bottles are reborn not as waste, but as whimsical wonders floating in the breeze or swimming beneath imagined seas. As the sun dapples through a wooden pergola, pastel-colored creatures smile gently from above. These are not store-bought lanterns but hand-painted dreams crafted from recycled bottles. Each glowing character hovers weightlessly, their wings fluttering like fairies mid-laugh. Some have bunny ears, others dragonfly wings, and all radiate joy. Hung between beams or dancing above picnic tables, they create a canopy of childhood magic, reminding us that even what's thrown away can become part of a sky filled with laughter. As twilight falls, these lanterns begin to glow softly, an invitation to linger, to sit beneath the stars, to believe again in stories. With just a few bottles, some paint, wings cut from translucent sheets, and a little imagination, anyone can bring these cheerful souls to life. They need not be perfect, only full of heart. Further along the path, another world awaits, an ocean cove not beneath the sea but nestled in your very own backyard. Here, jellyfish drift gently with tentacles made from shimmering ribbons, their bell-shaped heads once destined for the landfill. They hover gracefully above the mulch, their movements capturing the play of sunlight through plastic as if floating through real salt water. Beneath them, fish smile wide, their bodies crafted from repurposed soda bottles, painted with stripes and fins of every color. They perch among handmade coral from repurposed materials, encircled by garden stones, bamboo, and living greenery. The result is a miniature reef, a sanctuary of wonder built not by waves, but by will and love. And then, tucked between tall grasses and flowering beds, clownfish dart among petals while jellyfish sway like wind chimes of the sea. There are no tricks here, no digital illusions, only recycled art turned into something spellbindingly beautiful. This is a celebration of imagination, proof that creativity, not consumption, brings the most vibrant color to our world. Whether lit by sunlight or firefly dusk, these upcycled creations don't just decorate, they enchant. They whisper gently that magic doesn't always require new things. Sometimes, it's found in what we choose not to throw away. Five, playful bottle planter workers. Beneath the morning sun, an ordinary garden bed begins to glow with whimsy and wonder, revealing a world where discarded bottles are no longer trash. They are transformed into a vibrant underwater dreamscape. In this magical corner of the backyard, jellyfish float gently through the air, their translucent domes made from clear plastic bottles, trailing delicate tendrils that dance with the breeze like ribbons in the ocean's current. Beside them, bright-eyed fish, red, yellow, and blue, grin with joy as they swim through mulch and stones, weaving between handmade coral and driftwood that brings a splash of the sea to solid ground. These ocean creatures aren't just decoration, they're reminders of what we can create when imagination meets sustainability. With just a few plastic bottles, a pair of scissors, some paint, and string, you too can craft a piece of the ocean for your own garden. Place them beneath bamboo stalks or amidst flower beds, and you'll be amazed at how sunlight transforms them into living characters in an open-air fairy tale. There's no need for expensive tools or rare materials, just the willingness to see beauty where others see waste. As we drift from the sea to the soil, a different kind of magic awaits among the herb beds. Here, rows of smiling little gardeners greet the day, fashioned from recycled bottles and brought to life with playful detail. Some wear green felt hats shaped like clovers, others balance watering cans in their tiny foam hands. They stand tall on painted chairs or poke gently from the soil, sprouting real greenery from their open tops. Their wide eyes sparkle in the daylight, and their joyful expressions seem to whisper encouragement to every seedling nearby. These happy garden bottle helpers are more than cute companions. They double as planters, each filled with soil and ready to grow herbs, vegetables, or flowers. They make gardening feel approachable and joyful, especially for children or anyone new to planting. You can make them using simple materials, an empty bottle, some craft supplies, and your favorite plants. Add a face, a hat, maybe even tiny boots, and suddenly you've got a helper who's always smiling, rain or shine. Together, these projects remind us of the quiet power of creativity. They invite us to slow down, to play, and to see our gardens not just as spaces for growth, but as canvases for story, joy, and rebirth. In the end, it's not about crafting something perfect, it's about crafting something that brings life. So the next time you hold a used bottle in your hand, pause. Picture a jellyfish or a tiny gardener with a shovel. And then, make it real. Six, hanging mushroom bottle fairies. In a quiet patch of garden where the wind hums lullabies through the leaves, something truly magical begins to stir. Bottles once forgotten, destined for bins or buried beneath time, are given a second chance, reborn not as waste, but as joyful companions to the soil and sky. At first glance, you might think you've wandered into a storybook. Tiny bottle gardeners smile warmly under the sunlight, each one painted with care, dressed in cheerful overalls, and equipped with miniature tools. They stand proudly on garden beds or tiny chairs, shoulder to shoulder like a team of old friends ready to tend the herbs and seedlings. Their charm isn't just in their faces, but in the life they bring to your garden. Made from repurposed plastic or glass, these characters serve as both decoration and small planters. It's a simple bottle, paint, a pair of foam arms, a hat fashioned from leaves or felt, and a spoonful of creativity. Suddenly, your herb garden becomes a lively village, inviting laughter and imagination with every glance. And then, just beyond the basil and thyme, a parade of googly-eyed bottle helpers marches in the soil. With leafy hats and bendable arms, they hold watering cans and rakes, their plant-topped heads dancing in the breeze. These playful creations are not only adorable, they are functional. Each is a mini ecosystem, growing herbs or flowers in their bottle bellies, while encouraging children and grown-ups alike to care for plants with wonder and joy. They're a gentle reminder, beauty and function can coexist, especially when born from items we once called trash. But look up, higher still, where vines curl above and butterflies flirt with the light. hanging from branches and pergolas are the most enchanting of all, mushroom bottle fairies. Crafted from clear bottles, their transparent forms shimmer with dried flowers and bits of forest magic. Red-capped with white polka dots, they smile gently as they sway, capturing every ray of light like tiny forest spirits in motion. Each fairy is different. Some have wings, others leafy shoes or thread-like hair, and they spin with the rhythm of the wind, spreading a kind of calm no machine can replicate. Making them is easier than it looks. An old bottle, a painted mushroom cap, some twine and imagination. Suspend them where the breeze flows, and you'll have a symphony of movement and light. Together, these creations do more than recycle. They transform your garden into a space of wonder, a home for joy, storytelling, and nature. And perhaps the greatest magic of all is this: with just a bottle and a little love, you've made something that grows smiles just as easily as it grows herbs. Seven garden tool bottle planters. In the quiet corners of our homes and gardens, there lies a silent invitation, one that calls us to see the discarded not as waste, but as a canvas for wonder. What once was a plastic bottle tossed aside now dances joyfully in the breeze, reimagined as a whimsical mushroom fairy. Suspended from garden pergolas, these little bottle spirits wear red and white spotted caps like storybook fungi, their clear bellies glowing with dried petals and fluttering threads. Their painted faces smile gently, as if whispering secrets of the forest to the butterflies drifting nearby. With each breeze, they spin softly, reminding us that magic often lives in the things we nearly forget. And just beyond the vines, nestled amongst soft moss and shaded ferns, another kind of bottle creature comes to life. These charming mushroom folk don't fly, they play. Their cheerful red caps bounce as they dangle from threads or sit gently atop garden beds. With arms outstretched and shoes brightly painted, they invite children and adults alike to kneel down, look closely, and marvel. Each character is different, some with wide eyes, others with tilted smiles, and yet all share the same message: creativity needs only care and a spark of joy. Then, in another corner of this imaginative haven, something truly special takes root. Plastic bottles, once destined for landfills, now sprout life, literally. They've been transformed into a row of miniature gardeners, soil-filled and ready for duty. Their painted faces peek out from beneath handmade hats and colorful aprons, while tiny hands grip watering cans and garden forks with earnest purpose. Basil and mint rise proudly from the tops of their heads, turning every shelf or windowsill into a living diorama of hope and green growth. The play of soft sunlight over their bright clothes and googly eyes brings them to life in the most heartwarming way, like a little team of fairy tale helpers quietly tending your garden when no one is watching. These creations aren't just beautiful, they are profoundly gentle reminders that creativity doesn't require perfection, that the garden is as much a place for play as it is for plants, and that the things we throw away might still have stories to tell, if only we take the time to listen and craft. So the next time you hold a bottle in your hand, pause. Imagine, could it become a fairy? A gardener? A friend for the flowers? The possibilities, like the garden itself, are endless and full of life. Eight googly-eyed recycled fence friends. In a world where creativity meets care for the earth, even the humblest bottle can bloom with character and charm. Look closely, and you'll find a small army of joyful garden helpers peeking out from pastel shelves, bottle planters dressed as tiny gardeners, each with their own smile, tools, and leafy crown. These charming creations do more than decorate. They bring joy, awaken imagination, and teach us that even what we throw away can grow something meaningful. With just a used plastic bottle, a handful of soil, and a sprinkle of love, these miniature gardeners spring to life. A scrap of ribbon becomes a scarf, bottle caps turn into watering cans, and googly eyes lend a touch of personality. The trick lies in the details: straw hats shaded by soft morning light, aprons colored with pastel tones, and arms cheerfully holding miniature shovels. What once was trash now becomes a row of smiling guardians of green, inviting you to create your own cheerful troop of herb-holding friends. And just around the garden's edge, you may stumble upon the most unexpected joy, a whimsical parade of recycled fence buddies, perched proudly along wooden slats, their eyes wide and their grins impossibly bright. Each one tells a story. Their arms, once spoons, now gesture playfully in the breeze. Their hair, wild tufts of coconut husk, dances with sunlight. These aren't just crafts. They are tiny personalities brought to life, whispering laughter and warmth into your garden space. What's truly beautiful is how these figures turn a simple wooden fence into a gallery of delight. Whether made from plastic bottles, tin cans, or repurposed jars, they sit like gentle guardians, watching over the flower beds with an expression of endless wonder. Adding small touches, shoes from corks, arms from twine, names carved into wood blocks, turns each one into a character all its own. They're not just decoration, they are a celebration of life's simple joys. And then, nestled among the daisies, another kind of friend appears, gentle figures with metal heads and yarn for hair, seated peacefully on a garden beam. Their smiles are soft, their names are engraved like a family portrait, and their bodies are stitched together with thread and care. Each one feels like a childhood memory brought back to life, reminding us of the quiet magic found in handmade things. It's not about perfection. It's about heart. These bottle crafts don't require a studio or expensive materials. They ask only for imagination, a little patience, and the willingness to see beauty in what others might discard. They teach us to notice, to see not just a bottle, but the beginnings of something new. Something meaningful. So next time your hands reach to throw something away, pause. Imagine who or what it could become. A smiling gardener? A wide-eyed fence watcher? A quiet friend on the garden rail? Your next great creation might already be in your recycling bin. Nine, bright polka dot bottle mushrooms. In the quiet corners of a garden where laughter often takes the form of flowers in bloom, a row of bottle-crafted friends smiles from atop a wooden fence. Their googly eyes wide with wonder, metal spoon arms extended like they're ready to hug the sunshine, and coconut fiber hair dancing freely in the breeze, they sit perched like cheerful little guardians. Each one unique, yet part of a merry band of recycled joy, radiating the kind of warmth that makes you pause, smile, and forget the world for a moment. These aren't just decorations, they are companions of whimsy, crafted from the simplest items. Bottles, spoons, a little twine, and a whole lot of imagination. Creating them is easier than it seems. Clean your old bottles, glue on eyes, paint smiles, twist in a spoon or two, and top with natural fiber or straw for hair. The result? A lineup of fence buddies who greet every sunrise with open hearts. Elsewhere, nestled within a soft bed of soil and framed by blooms of marigold and purple asters, tiny mushroom figures spring to life. Their polka dot caps, once ordinary bowls or lids, now shine in hues of red, orange, blue, and yellow. Beneath those vibrant tops, faces beam with joy, rosy cheeks, wide eyes, and smiles that seem to whisper, "You made this." At night, some even glow gently, casting a fairy tale light across painted stones and garden borders. There's magic in how a forgotten bottle becomes a source of light and delight. If you want to try it, start with clear or white plastic bottles, cut and paint them gently, and top with bowls or caps painted in playful dots. You can tuck fairy lights inside to turn them into beacons after dusk. And then there's a field where the grass grows wild with daisies and dandelions, and in between, bottle mushrooms bloom with personality. Their eyes glisten in the daylight, painted smiles radiant, and their hats pop with cheerful colors. Some wear flower earrings, while others are surrounded by miniature gnomes who seem just as delighted to be part of this dreamscape. The simplicity of the project is part of its charm. Small pots or upside-down bowls become caps, while painted plastic bottles serve as the base. With a bit of glue and paint, and perhaps the hands of children or friends, it becomes a memory in the making. These bottle creations aren't just crafts. They are a gentle rebellion against waste, an invitation to play, and a celebration of creativity in its purest form. They bring life to forgotten corners and stories to silent patches of grass. And maybe, just maybe, they remind us that joy often begins with the things we once threw away. Tranquil garden bottle statues. In a quiet garden kissed by sunlight and scattered petals, joy takes root in the most unexpected forms. What once was waste now stands proudly as a family of mushroom guardians, crafted from discarded plastic bottles and repurposed bowls. Their wide, cheerful smiles and rosy cheeks beam with delight, bringing a sense of playful whimsy to flowerbeds and grassy corners. The polka-dotted caps, each color a joyful burst, recall the magical woods of childhood dreams, while their painted faces, adorned with flowers and sparkles of personality, radiate warmth. It's not just about color or form, it's the transformation of what was forgotten into characters that seem to greet the world with open arms. With just a few simple materials, paint, glue, and imagination, you can populate your own garden with friends who never stop smiling. Amid that cheer, another kind of peace awaits, gentler, quieter, yet no less powerful. In shaded garden nooks or beneath bamboo roofs, tiny monk figures sit in silent prayer, their eyes closed, hands folded, robes painted in calm earth tones. But these monks too began life as humble plastic bottles, destined for landfill until love and creativity gave them new meaning. Resting upon river stones and surrounded by moss, they become vessels of serenity. The trickle of water beside them, the soft rustle of fern leaves, the grounding presence of incense, these are more than decorations. They are invitations. Invitations to breathe, to sit, to be. This is the beauty of DIY beyond aesthetics, a ritual of care and transformation, where even a bottle becomes a messenger of stillness. Each creation holds its own story. One filled with laughter and play, the other with calm and reflection. But both remind us that what we throw away is often waiting for a second life, one filled with purpose, beauty, and perhaps a little magic. 11. Hanging jellyfish bottle faces. There are some things in life that quietly invite us to slow down, breathe deeply, and reconnect with joy in its simplest forms. Nestled in the corner of a garden or resting softly beneath a canopy of trees, these peaceful bottle monk statues seem to hum a silent lullaby of stillness. Crafted from reused plastic bottles, each miniature figure radiates a gentle, meditative energy. With eyes closed in serenity, palms resting calmly in their laps, and robes painted in natural earth tones, they sit like guardians of peace, inviting us to do the same. Arranging these little monks on moss-covered stone beds or beneath tiny bonsai trees creates a sanctuary that feels timeless. There's no need for grand gestures. Sometimes, a single bottle, transformed with care and intention, becomes a vessel of grace. If you try this at home, consider adding soft touches of nature around them, pebbles, low ferns, or trickling water, to echo the energy of a Zen glade. You don't need to be an artist to recreate their calm expressions. A simple painted smile, gentle brows, and blushing cheeks are more than enough to convey peace. Now imagine, in another quiet part of the garden, joy takes a more playful form. Dangling from a pergola, a line of cheerful faces made from upside-down bottles greet the sunlight with delight. Each has a different smile, a glint of character in their eyes, and a cascade of green trailing down like whimsical jellyfish hair. They sway with the wind, whispering laughter with every breeze. These planters are not just a charming garden accent, they are proof that creativity thrives when paired with kindness to the earth. You can make them, too, perhaps with your children, or with a friend on a sunny afternoon. Take used bottles, give them life with color and painted faces, and plant trailing greens like dischidia, stringer pearls, or creeping jenny. Tie them up with twine, let them dance on your porch or along your fence, and watch as even strangers pause to smile at their charm. There's something healing about these smiling faces and wild leafy hair. They remind us not to take life too seriously, and that even recycled plastic can hold a bit of soul. Together, these two ideas, silent monk and giggling jellyfish, form a poetic contrast. Stillness and laughter, reflection and celebration. Both emerge from the same humble beginning, a discarded bottle. But through your hands, they are given new breath and meaning. This is the magic of reuse. Not just a way to reduce waste, but a path to create spaces that soothe the heart and spark the imagination. So the next time you hold an empty bottle in your hand, don't rush to throw it away. Pause. Imagine. And perhaps, let it become a small messenger of peace or joy in your garden's growing story. Floral lead bottles with seasonal decor. In the quiet of a golden afternoon, when the sun begins its gentle descent and the garden breathes in warmth and laughter, something magical comes to life, a cheerful parade of floating smiles. These are not ordinary decorations. They are upcycled spirits of joy, born from plastic bottles once discarded. Each one, lovingly painted with happy faces and soft, blushing cheeks, dangles gracefully from a piece of twine. From their crowned heads, cascading greenery tumbles down like jellyfish tendrils, swaying ever so slightly with the breeze. It is as if they are whispering stories to one another, little garden guardians with leafy hair, standing watch over a corner filled with light, laughter, and the hum of a life lived close to nature. To bring these playful souls into your own home, all it takes is a little imagination, a pair of scissors, and a splash of paint. Choose bottles with character, round, smooth, or textured, and cut them in a way that lets the roots breathe and the plants flow. Paint on faces that bring you joy, wide smiles, sleepy eyes, or even freckles. Then, select trailing plants like stringer pearls or creeping jenny to add a sense of motion and life. The result isn't just a planter. It's a friend. A floating reminder that creativity blooms even in the simplest forms, and that joy, when nurtured, can hang beautifully from your rafters. As dusk settles and shadows lengthen, another transformation quietly takes place in the heart of the garden. Bottles, once clear and empty, now shimmer with light and story. Each one has been turned into a tiny lantern, glowing from within with the soft pulse of LED lights. On their surfaces, hand-painted petals blossom, delicate snowflakes scatter like stardust, and autumn leaves drift in patterns that echo the rhythm of falling time. These glowing garden bottle lanterns are more than decor. They are a celebration of the seasons, captured in glass and suspended in the stillness of twilight. You can create your own sanctuary of light by saving your used bottles, whether they are from wine, soda, or simple sparkling water. Wash them clean, then decorate them with acrylic paints, tissue paper applique, or pressed leaves sealed beneath a coat of decoupage glue. Once dry, drop in a battery-powered LED light or a solar cork top, and hang them from pergolas, tree branches, or garden hooks. What begins as waste becomes wonder, a glowing dance of light and color that turns a backyard path into an evening fairy tale. And the beauty lies not just in the visual delight, but in the process itself. This is not fast decoration. It is slow, thoughtful crafting, a gentle ritual of turning glass into glow, trash into treasure. In a world that often rushes forward, these moments invite you to pause. To paint. To plant. To hang something from your porch that makes a child giggle or a guest stop and smile. This is the soul of DIY, not just doing it yourself, but doing it with care, with intention, with joy. And with each bottle you save from the landfill, with each brushstroke you add, you're not just decorating a space, you're shaping a story. A glowing, green, smiling story, one bottle at a time. (13) Enchanted bottle fairies for walkways. When the day yields to dusk, and your garden begins to hush, a gentle glow can awaken magic in the quiet. Imagine taking simple, forgotten bottles, once emptied and discarded, and giving them a new life filled with light and story. In this peaceful transformation, you don't just recycle, you create poetry out of glass and glow. Look closely at these hanging lanterns. Each bottle is hand-painted with a different season. Soft cherry blossoms for spring, bright green leaves for summer, delicate snowflakes for winter, and fiery reds for autumn. Strung together beneath a pergola or nestled among branches, they don't just light the garden, They tell a tale of time, of change, of beauty in every cycle of the year. It's a craft that calls for little more than clear bottles, acrylic paint, and warm LED lights. And yet, the effect is magical, gentle shadows dancing on nearby plants, creating a canopy of stories above your head. Move now to the covered porch where another form of enchantment blooms. Among the hanging ferns and pots of flowering joy, painted bottles sway softly in the breeze. The floral motifs, roses, daisies, violets, mirror the living blooms below. These pieces don't just serve as lanterns, they become part of the garden's soul, mingling craft and nature in perfect harmony. You can create them with a bit of imagination and a few easy-to-find materials: a brush, some garden twine, and a quiet afternoon. And when night falls, the most tender scene reveals itself. Along a garden path, little fairies emerge, not flesh and bone, but shaped from reused bottles, their wings spun from gossamer fabric, their hearts lit with tiny stars of wire LEDs. Some bear painted smiles, others wear crafted hair and flower crowns, but all bring warmth and whimsy to every step you take. They don't require perfection to be beautiful, only patience, a bit of playfulness, and the willingness to believe in small wonders. This isn't just about lighting up a yard. It's about rediscovering enchantment in the everyday, turning waste into wonder, creating something quiet yet profound where once there was nothing. These bottle DIYs are not merely projects, they are invitations. To pause, to notice, to imagine, and to fill your space with not only light, but with a sense of belonging to something a little more magical. And so, the next time you reach for a bottle, pause before tossing it away. The fairy lights might still be waiting. Lily pad bottle creatures. When the sun dips low and the shadows stretch gently across the garden, there's a certain kind of magic that awakens, one that begins not in the pages of a fairy tale, but from the humble shells of bottles most would throw away. In this twilight hour, the walkway comes alive with a gentle glow. Where once there was only moss and stone, now flutter enchanting fairy lights, crafted from repurposed plastic bottles and lit from within by warm LED strands. Their wings, made of sheer fabric, shimmer with grace as if caught mid-flight. As you stroll past, it almost feels like they're guiding your steps, ushering you down a dreamy woodland path where each flicker of light carries a secret. Creating these fairies is surprisingly simple and endlessly satisfying. Bottles become their bodies, their wings shaped from fabric or transparent plastic, and their heads mold with just enough detail to give them life. Add a swirl of tiny string lights inside, and the magic begins. Stake them along a garden path, and even the most ordinary evening walk becomes an enchanting escape. Venture further and you'll find the garden doesn't end at the earth's edge, it spills into the water. Here, the air is thick with peace. The pond is quiet, save for the ripples made by dragonflies and the gentle splash of a bubbling fountain. But look closer, and you'll see more fairy folk, floating serenely atop lily pads. Some are crafted from light blue plastic bottles with simple, smiling faces and googly eyes that seem to follow you with joy. Others are more intricate, like glassy figurines standing proudly on their green platforms, watching over the water's calm surface. Their wings are translucent, catching the sun's late glow, and their hair, made from twine or yarn, flutters ever so slightly in the breeze. This floating fantasy is more than whimsical decor, it's a quiet revolution in recycling. Instead of discarding those bottles, why not give them a second life as the soul of your garden? A few simple materials, foam for the pads, glue for the wings, and paint for their tiny faces, and suddenly your backyard transforms into a pond where fairies gather at dusk. Whether lining a path with glowing bottle lanterns or letting pond fairies drift across still water, these creations remind us that beauty is often born from the overlooked. They're not just crafts, they're gentle invitations to see the world and our waste differently. And in doing so, they bring a little light, a little wonder, and a little magic back into our everyday lives. "15. Framed character bottle planters." When the sun glistens over a quiet garden pond, something magical stirs. Tiny fairy-like figures begin to sway gently on the water's surface. But look closer, and you'll see they aren't fairies at all. These delicate beings are made from simple blue plastic bottles, lovingly transformed into floating bottle fairies. Each one is adorned with a pair of translucent wings that shimmer in the light, their faces bright with googly eyes and cheerful smiles. Twine becomes hair, bottle caps become playful hats, and foam lily pads serve as their royal thrones. As dragonflies hover and ripples lap against the edges, it feels like you've stumbled into a secret water garden where creativity blossoms just as freely as the lilies. The beauty of this DIY lies not only in its whimsy but in its simplicity. With a handful of recyclables and a bit of imagination, your garden can become a stage for this fairytale scene. Then, just beyond the water's edge, a different kind of charm awaits. Bottles once tossed aside are now nestled behind rustic wooden frames, sprouting herbs and flowers as if they've always belonged there. Each planter takes on a new persona, a goofy creature peering through a window, its bottle body adorned with paint, plastic eyes, and a dash of playfulness. Some wear the bright stripes of bees, others are shaped like gnomes or sun-effaced flowers. The way they sit together, side by side, within a gallery of wooden frames, creates a whimsical narrative. The garden itself has come alive with personalities. Bees buzz near the blossoms. Little gnome figurines stand guard on the grass, and the frames, once forgotten parts of old furniture, now serve as joyful portals into another world. And finally, along a garden wall of lush green leaves, an enchanting gallery hangs like an open-air museum curated by nature herself. Each bottle is a painted portrait. Some feature characters with sweet rosy cheeks, others don't shy from a bold blue or a playful polka. Their tops bloom with real flowers, turning the entire installation into a celebration of color and growth. Butterflies flutter nearby, seemingly inspecting this fairy tale collection of smiling faces and blooming crowns. There's something deeply calming about this scene, a reminder that art can be grown, that joy can be found in the smallest acts of reuse. This isn't just about decorating your garden. It's about turning throwaways into treasures, bottle by bottle, frame by frame. It's about crafting a space that tells stories, stories of wonder, resourcefulness, and simple, soul-soothing beauty. And most of all, it's a gentle encouragement. You can do this. You can turn what you already have into something magical. Just like these bottle fairies and joyful planters, all it takes is a little care, a spark of creativity, and the willingness to see beauty where others see trash. (16) Glowing bottle bee lanterns. In a quiet corner of the garden, laughter seems to bloom from the soil itself. Among the gentle buzz of nature, you'll find a row of delightful bottle characters peeking from wooden frames, their eyes wide with wonder, their painted faces full of joy. Each one tells a story, perhaps a bee on an eternal mission, a cheerful sun with petals for cheeks, or a tiny gnome with mischief in his smile. Made from recycled bottles and tucked behind vintage-style wooden frames, these little guardians of greenery create a gallery that turns any raised bed into a celebration of color, creativity, and life. Some stand proudly on the ground, some hang playfully against living green walls, but all have a sparkle of soul. With just a few strokes of paint, some googly eyes, and imagination as your guide, you can bring these characters to life in your own garden. Their hair? Real flowers. Their bodies? Old bottles once forgotten, now given meaning. The contrast of rustic wood frames and fresh blossoms makes each one a tiny portrait of possibility. Even butterflies seem to pause to admire the whimsy of this wall of smiles. As the day softens into dusk, another magic quietly takes the stage. From tree branches and pergolas, soft glowing bees begin to appear, lighting the garden with a gentle golden pulse. These bees are not made of wax or wire, but of clear plastic bottles, their bellies filled with warm lead light. Some smile brightly with painted faces, others shimmer like mysterious creatures from a fairy tale. Their translucent wings flutter in the night breeze, their curled antennae give them charm, and their little wire legs dangle playfully as they hover above daisies and garden paths. It's astonishing how waste becomes wonder when paired with intention and light. You don't need perfection, just a plastic bottle, some wire, soft lighting, and a touch of magic in your fingertips. Hang them from branches, pergolas, or trellises. Let them gently sway and guide visitors along winding paths, casting golden glows on flowerbeds and laughter in hearts. In a world that often forgets the quiet joy of handmade things, this kind of project brings us back. Back to a time when play was encouraged, when gardens weren't just for plants but for personality. It's a reminder that the smallest gestures, like turning trash into a bee that glows in the moonlight, can make a space feel alive, loved, and entirely yours. If you found even one idea that sparked your imagination, don't let it fade. Try it, share it, and pass it along. Hit like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more weekly garden DIYs, And ring the bell so you never miss what's blooming next. Thanks for watching Backyard Fortune, where creativity takes root, one bottle at a time.